Okay, today we're going to look at 5.1, polynomials and polynomial functions. The first thing that we want to look at is what we call a monomial. And a monomial is simply one term that is either a constant, has multiplication, or power with the exponent. So we would say that f of x equals 2x squared is a monomial. There's only one term that is a product of a constant and a variable. After we have a monomial, then we have the possibility of having two terms. Two x squared plus 7 is going to be a binomial. So there are two of them. When we have three terms, then we would call that a trinomial, tri standing for three. Kind of makes sense. Monomial, binomial, and trinomial. When you have more than three terms, we really just start looking at the degree of the polynomial, and we say that it is a polynomial of nth degree. And so we have to figure out what is the degree of a polynomial, okay? So that's the second way that we can look at polynomials. The degree of a polynomial is determined by the highest exponent. So with the function f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 6x, 2 is our highest exponent, so we say it is a second degree polynomial. If we have f of x is equal to 7x to the 6th plus 3x to the 2nd, we say that this is a sixth degree polynomial. But when we look at functions that have more than one variable, then we begin to add the exponents in a single term. F of x is equal to 7x to the 6th plus 2xy plus 3y to the 9th x squared, then y to the 9th x squared, or 11, is going to be the degree of our polynomial. So when we had linear terms, we had ax plus by is equal to c. When we had a quadratic equation in chapter 4, we had ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. In a cubic equation, or a cubic function with the highest power of 3, then we would write that as ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d is equal to 0. If you'll notice, these are all the standard forms of each type of equation. So in a polynomial, you will write it in standard form by writing it in descending order of your exponents. This is a key concept, and I want you to look at the two types of ways that we can talk about polynomials, or that we can have a discussion about them. Mainly, the first point is that you have to remember that standard form of a polynomial function is always going to be in descending order of the exponents. It shows here where you have a cubic term, a quadratic term, a linear term, and a constant term. And you'll notice that each of your exponents are going down by 1. Another way that we can classify them is by the number of terms. So you can have one term and it can be a monomial. You can have two terms and it can be a binomial. 3 terms will be a trinomial. So we could say, if you look at the example down there, the degree 3, that is a cubic trinomial, which means that the highest power is 3 and that the number of terms is 3. The last one is a quintic polynomial of 4 terms. So another way of calling that one is to say a 5th degree polynomial with 4 terms. So as the powers go up and the number of terms increase, we just use whatever number of terms and powers that we have. This is going to be important, and you need to make sure that you know how to do this and put them in standard form. The degree of a polynomial tells us a lot. It tells us if it's even or if it's odd. An even polynomial will enter and leave the graph from the same direction. An odd polynomial will enter and leave the graph from 2 different directions. Our leading coefficient will tell us how the end behavior is also as well. One of the things that we look at a lot with polynomials is their end behavior, and that means what are they doing after they leave the central part of the graph. Okay? If you have an even number polynomial and it is positive, you will enter the graph and exit from the same direction, and so we say that it rises up and up, because to the left it goes up and to the right it goes up. If it is an even polynomial and it is negative, the leading coefficient is negative, then we say it goes down and down. No matter how many turns it has, it will still go down and down. On an odd number polynomial, if it is positive, it will fall to the left and rise to the right, or it will go down to the left and up to the right. On a negative odd number exponent or odd polynomial, it will rise to the left and fall to the right. The number of turning points, as we've talked about before, are always whatever your highest exponent is minus 1. So if it is a 5th degree polynomial, it will fall to the left, rise to the right, and have at most 4 turns in the graph. If it is a 8th degree polynomial and your first coefficient is negative, it will fall to the left, fall to the right, and at most have 7 turns in the graph. For your homework and your initial practice, I would like for you to complete the odd number problems on this worksheet. You need to do them on a separate sheet of paper and bring them into class.